It was the Albany colonies. There, for the first time, representatives from 7 of Great Britain's colonies met to hear Benjamin Franklin's proposed unification of the colonies.
Let's unite!
However, without proper enforcement, the unification promptly disunified.
You see, the colonies had grown resentful of the monarchy back in England, especially since the British had set up uppity soldiers and haughty attitudes to help the colonists in their endeavor against the French and the Indians.
Huzzah! And, excuse me, sir. You are doing this wrong.
When the war ended, Britain realized that they had a lot of debt to repay. They placed the burden of the war debt on the colonists, since they had been fighting to help the colonies anyway. It was only fair.
I don't think so, bro.
With the passing of the Proclamation of 1763, the colonists became upset. They could no longer expand into Western territory, even though the conflict with the French and Indians had ended. Though the proclamation was widely ignored, the colonists were still royally pissed that it existed.
In 1764, the British passed the Sugar Act, the first tax on goods for colonists, without the consent of a colonial representative in Parliament.
1 box of sugar, please.
Well, I'm afraid it's going to cost you a bit more than that.
Shortly afterwards, Parliament passed the Currency Act, giving Britain control over the colonial currency system.
I'd like to buy this.
Money? I'm sorry, but we do not take bills of credit anymore.
Are you serious, you blithering idiot?
Since British citizens were still paying extremely high taxes to pay off the war debts, Britain enacted the Stamp Act, the most despised by the colonists.
Yes.
You do realize that each of those pages costs money, yes?
Excuse me, are you serious?
After several more acts were passed, bringing the colonists further under British rule, a couple events happened in Boston.
Hey, wanna play?
Here, catch!
Yeah.
Fabulous. And very delicious too. Oh, indeed. Perfect.
Stop being or you main surrender. Yeah, get out of here.
No, I think you'll want this.
Okay.
Stop running. Go back. You incompetent little midgets. Go back this way. We're innocent. We're innocent. She did nothing.
Really happened. Then the British passed the Tea Act.
Oh no, you cannot drink this type of tea. This is much better.
Excuse me, I think not.
Some tea party.
This behavior is intolerable.
In 1774, the British passed the Intolerable Acts, aiming to bring back the submissive attitudes of the colonists prior to the French and Indian War. In response, representatives from all of the colonies, except Georgia, formed the First Continental Congress to discuss the possible boycotting of British goods and all colonists' grievances against Britain.
However, their attempt to appeal to the Crown went virtually unnoticed. Thus, they decided to reconvene a year later, at the creatively named Second Continental Congress. Meanwhile, Patrick Henry, a die-hard patriot, delivered his famous speech ending with,
Give me liberty or give me death!
When the Second Continental Congress met in Philadelphia in 1775, they debated with more fervor and insistence than they had previously.
More violence had broken out between the Redcoats and the colonists and climaxed at Lexington and Concord with the shot heard around the world. The Revolutionary War was beginning. However, most members of the Congress were moderate and proposed an olive branch petition directly to King George, who did not respond positively.
Off with the heads!
This caused significant more members to join radical patriots like John Adams.
The Congress had to create a continental army, which they did, and appointed George Washington as the supreme commander. Later, the army would face problems with traitors like Benedict Arnold and other loyalist sympathizers, as well as financial struggles. But they were not discouraged, as they were now a legitimate governing body.
In early 1776, Thomas Paine published a patriotic plea called Common Sense, which gained considerable support from the public for the fight for independence.
How about we hold these truths to be self-evident?
That's fantastic!
Cool beans. Hey Ben, you dig?
Whatever, I'm sure he'll approve.
I, John Hancock, President of the Second Continental Congress, do hereby announce that we, the Second Continental Congress, do hereby adopt the Declaration of Independence, freeing us from the shackles Britain keeps hold of us with.
That was so deep, man.
Seriously.
Brilliant!
Let me read it since I wrote most of it.
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, and among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Happiness! Yes! Let's get this thing signed. Yeah!
The Declaration of Independence is the most important of all American historical documents. It functions as a symbol for independence, an illustration of man's inherent rights, and as a foundation for American democracy. It established rights to equality, liberty, and life, among others, which pervade through our democratic system today. The Declaration of Independence was, and still is, so important to America because it formally declared America its own country, allowing it to evolve into what will become one of the world's most powerful countries.